Hello all. So I'm just going to make a quick video going through the exam. I'll do all of the statistics that are required, but I might not do every single thing that, like the code, every single code in the code book, but I'll walk through everything that needs to be done. So I'm going to share my screen. And so you should be seeing the the exam on one side and the data set on the other. So you've been given some data. You want to know if authoritarian regimes have high merge rate, non-authoritarian regimes have these series of variables. So you want to create a new variable for authoritarian regime, which is those which are not free. So not free are going to be coded one, partially free and free will be coded zero. Um, they need to control for median age. You've got median age, you've got percent urban, got years of education, and they need population density. So I'm going to have to create a population density variable as well. You should return a Word document, an Excel sheet, put everything apart from a pivot table in the Word document. I'm going to make a pivot table, which is going to be reporting by the Freedom House index of not free, partly free, and free. So I'm going to make a couple of variables. The first one I'm going to do is I'm going to have freedom in words. So I'm just going to do this to make the pivot table look a little bit better. So I'm going to sort this, sort by A to Z. Oh no, I want to sort by actually not that. I want to sort by freedom. So I'm going to change from country to freedom. Yeah. So the ones, these are the not free countries. So I'm going to say not free. Yeah. Copy that down to Zimbabwe. Then I've got partly free, which are those coded to, all the way down to yeah, and then free. Yeah, that's just going to make my pivot table a little bit easier and look a little bit better. Then I'll make my authoritarian variable. So I'm going to insert this here. And so that's going to be coded one and then zero. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a binary variable. So when I put it in the model, it will be a 1 unit change from not authoritarian to authoritarian. So that's my authoritarian variable. I need the murder rate, don't I? So that's going to be murders per population. So I'm going to insert that here. And that's simply going to be murders divided by population. Now, this is probably going to be a very small number. Yes, so I'm going to multiply this all by oh, 1,000,000. So this will be the number of murders per million, murder rate mil, and I'm going to create now, and this you have to do for every variable, but I'm only going to do it for this one. And this is right, murder rate per million population. Yeah. All right. And oh, the last one I need is I need pop density, and that's going to be equal to population divided by area. Yeah, that's my population density variable. I would, of course, create a code book for that, but I'm not going to, but you should in the exam. So those are the variables I think that I need. Summarize the data and create a table. So I'm going to go to my trusty data analysis toolpack, descriptive statistics, Input range, I'm going to include all of the variables, labels in first row and summary statistics. Okay. And so when we look at murders, I would of course use the median. When we look at population, I would use the median because again, there are outliers. When we look at area square kilometers, I would use the median. You don't see a pattern. When we look at murders per million, I would use the median. Population density, I would use the median. Do you see how in each of these, the median looks very different from the mean, except saying median age, right? Age, I could use either, but I'll probably stick with median when I make the table. Same with urban population, I could use either. Uh, Same with education level. Now, for authoritarianism, because it's a binary variable, I'm going to use the percentage. So I'm going to say about just under 20% if I was to describe this as authoritarian. And I would use the median for freedom because it's an uh, it's ordered and it's categorical, right? And I would report this as partly free. Yeah, I'd report it as partly free. I'd make a table and report it as partly free. Okay. Um, I'm not sure I'm going to do that, but there you go. I'm going to look at the minimums and maximums. So I'm going to make two figures. So I'm going to make a figure of murders per million, right? And you see the range is from 200 to 514. That's going to be a kind of interesting, from 2 to 514. But I'm also going to make a histogram of the Freedom House index. So that's the first one I'm going to do. So, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to data analysis, histogram. I'm going to do freedom there, bin range, labels, chart output. Always remember to do chart output. I get this figure, so I'm going to get rid of them all. So I'm going to click on that, delete. I'm going to click on this, delete it there. I'm going to change this into not free. We'll give this a title. So freedom scale. I'm going to do this here, but I would generally do it in the Word document. So this can be figure one. Uh, so freedom scores around the world. And that's a perfectly good data visualization. I would cut and paste that into my Word document. All right, let's do murder rate. This is going to be a weird one. So bins. So it goes, let's go 50, 100, and then all the way up to 550. Histogram. I'm going to use these bins now. And doing murder rates, that's F, isn't it? Yeah. So what we see is this kind of, trickle off. I think I might change this to 25s, but not go up as high. So bins, up to 400. Yeah. I mean, you've seen there's a wide variety. I might just make one change to. Yeah, I think this might work, right? It shows that there's a lot of variation. I would do 0 to 25, and then I'm going to do, no, let's go one more. Yeah. And so what I do is 300 plus there, change that to 0 to 25. I'd make all those changes, make that into a proper graph. But what you're seeing is there's this kind of, most countries have, under 25 or fewer than 25 murders per million, and you have this whole lot that kind of drags it out. So yeah, I think those are the two graphs I'd make. All right, now I'm going to make a pivot table. So I'm going to click in here, insert tables, pivot table. Oh, and it's on your screen. So I'm going to say, okay, new worksheet. Now I'm going to use freedom one here. Yeah. Uh, average murders and average median age. So I'm going to still do murders per million, right? And I'm going to do median age. I'm going to change that to average. And I'm going to change that to average. Oh, let me, something I should have done. Both of these, format the cells, and then these cells to two decimal places. Yeah, that's perfectly good. Pivot table, and now I'm just going to run the regressions. So I'm going to go to data analysis, regression. My Y range is my murder rate, right? And I'm going to explain that by, I'm going to explain that by authoritarian or not. Yeah, I have labels. I'm going to click OK. So what we look for here, yeah, the R square, I'm explaining about 1% of variation. It's not a good model. So these are all the things that I would include in a table. Yeah, number of observations as well. But let's look through this. So my p-value is 0.3, which is greater than 0.05. So I can't be confident that authoritarianism is linked to the murder rate. I'm not going to talk about the effect then because I can't talk about it. I'm not sure it's not zero. Look here, zero's included in that. So I would say I would create a table. You've seen those tables. Um, I would say I am not confident there's a relationship between authoritarianism and murder rate. My model explains about 1% of the variation in murder rate. So this is not a good job. All right, that's fine. Now we're going to go back and run the full model. So that includes population density, median age, urban population, education, and authoritarianism. Going to click OK. And what do we see? These are the things that I should be looking at. So When I control for the other variables, I am not confident there's a relationship between authoritarianism and murder rate. It's greater than 0.05. When I control for the other variables, I'm not confident there's a relationship between education level and murder rate. When I control for the other variables, I'm not convinced that there's a relationship between population density and murder rate. When I control the other variables, I'm not confident there's a relationship between median age and murder rate. Holding all the variables constant, I'm not confident that there's a relationship between population density and murder rate. My model explains less than 10% of the variation in murder rate. I'll include all of these things in my table, right? Oh, and the other thing I'll do when I create the table, and this is one thing that, separates a good answer from a bad answer. Not going to use the code. I'm not going to say pop den. I'm going to say population density. I'm going to say years of education. I'm going to say authoritarian or not. But I'd make a I'd make a table, and really, I can't be confident that authoritarianism is linked to murder rate. That's kind of it, right? You'd need to put this all in a Word document. I'm not going to do that, but because you've seen those before. But yeah, that's it. That's it. All right. So I'll have some office hours later today. I'll send out an email and I'll see you all soon. All right. Bye bye.